Subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to never miss an update from Kautilya's Fincast.
Welcome to Kautilya's Fincast from the 1st of December to 15th of December 2020.
Let's begin with corporate news.
Facebook Incorporated has acquired Customer Incorporated, a New York-based software company that helps businesses manage customer conversations from multiple services on one dashboard. The deal was valued at more than $1 billion. Unilever will trial a 4-day working week in New Zealand to enhance worker well-being and boost productivity. The trial starts this month and will run for a year. The Tata Group is in advanced talks to buy around 80% in Big Basket for around $1.3 billion, valuing India's largest online grocer at around $1.6 billion. China's number 2 smartphone maker Xiaomi Corporation is seeking to raise as much as $4 billion from a combined share placement and sale of convertible bonds. Infosys Limited has entered into a partnership with Rolls-Royce, under which the latter will transition a significant part of its engineering center capabilities for civil aerospace in Bengaluru to the IT services firm. Finan, a fintech company, has launched itself as a neobank, in partnership with SBM Bank, a wholly owned subsidiary of State Bank of Mauritius in India, focusing on saving rather than lending. Junio, a kids-focused digital smart card that lets children make digital and physical purchases, has announced to raise $3 million in a seed round. Tata Sons Private Limited, promoter of Tata Chemicals, bought more than 25 lakh shares of the company worth over 121 crore via open market transaction. Tata Consumer Products Limited, TCPL, said its Australia-based step-down subsidiary is selling MAP Coffee business to Bukeri Group for $1.25 million Australian dollars, 6.74 crore. Realty major DLF will invest around 130 crore over the next 18 months to develop a data center in Noida. The data center project will have 3.7 lakh square foot space with proper infrastructure, including high power capacity. CAIT claimed that despite the constant violations, no action has been taken against Amazon, because of which 7 crore traders of the country, along with the workers and people connected to them, are feeling cheated and left out. Quicksilver, which counts 700 companies and 1 million consumers as clients, is currently powering 1 billion transactions through its gift cards on an annualized basis. The pilot project will be implemented across 100 locations in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, to benefit more than 50,000 farmers. While Nokia will provide its swing solution, Solidaridad has been signed up for field implementation. Hospitality firm Oyo has laid off around 300 employees, mainly from renovation and operations departments, in order to build a long-term sustainable business, as the company has introduced some operational changes aligned with the current business realities. The process to boost stake in the GSCH venture from 51% to 100% has also been initiated with regulators' full ownership to allow foreign banks to expand their operations. In the multi-trillion-dollar Chinese financial sector, SEBI introduced additional payment mechanism including ASPA, for making subscription and payment of balance money for calls in respect of partly paid securities. AirAsia India is in talks with its parent Malaysian carrier Bohad to return 7 Airbus planes leased from it earlier. The move is aimed at cutting down exposure. HNA, which has been selling assets to focus on its aviation routes, made a solid return on the investment, and the change in ownership helps ensure that Ingram Micro can continue its growth trajectory. SpaceX's first high-altitude test flight of its next-generation Starship spacecraft ended in a massive fireball. Elon Musk said pressure in a fuel tank was low on descent and caused the landing velocity to be too high. Tata Group has reportedly rejected the offer of the Mistry family to swap its 18.4% stake in Tata Sons for equitable stakes in various group companies. Wipro has signed a definitive agreement to acquire Precision Automation and Robotics India for an undisclosed amount. PARI has deployed around 1,500 automated systems globally. Qatar Investment Authority is planning to invest around $450 million in Adani Electricity Mumbai. The IIFL Asset Management is set to expand its strategy of investing in India's financial service industry, which is the most stressed area in India's economy. SBI will prefer the co-origination model, to cater to the financing needs of MSMEs, and collaboration with fintechs is a good idea, as it helps in assessing the risk profile of the borrower in a better manner. The company has initiated due process for final approval from stock exchanges for updating the name change. Mahindra & Mahindra is reportedly liquidating Pininfarina Engineering, a unit of its Italian subsidiary Pininfarina, citing strategic irrelevance of the business and poor market visibility. Fortune Hotels, a member of ITC's hotel group, announced the signing of 4 individual operating agreements for hotels in Kandalim, Goa, Devghar, Jharkhand, Haldwani, Uttarakhand, and Tirupur, Tamil Nadu. Fintech major PhonePe has received about 150 crore from PhonePe Private Limited, Singapore in funding, as per regulatory filings. Nokia has entered the Indian laptop market with an Intel Core i5 10th generation laptop priced at 49,999 rupees.
Let's begin with market news.
ABN AMRO Bank plans to cut its workforce by 15% in 4 years as the Dutch lender retreat large part of investment bank. The company's target is €700 million new savings by 2024, with most job reductions starting in 2022. Blackstone Group Incorporated is adding some quant firepower in the biggest deal by its credit unit in almost a decade. DCI will become a part of Blackstone's $135 billion GSO operation, which was recently rechristened Blackstone Credit. Yes Bank aims to raise deposits booked to 2 trillion rupees by end of Q1. The private sector lender plans to expand retail, small and medium enterprises loan book from 6,800 crore in September quarter to 10,000 crore by end of third quarter. Airbnb is seeking to raise some $2.6 billion in its upcoming share offering, which could give the home-sharing giant a valuation as high as $35 billion. Tata Sons Private Limited, promoter of Tata Chemicals, bought 1.81 million shares, or 0.71% for 76 crore, in an open market transaction on Wednesday. China has started importing Indian rice for the first time in at least 3 decades due to tightening supplies and an offer from India of sharply discounted prices. Delhi-based brand Boat Lifestyle, which sells products such as earphones, headphones, and smartwatches, has reached the top 5 in the global wearables market, becoming the first Indian company to do so. Market indices closed near record highs on Friday, in line with global peers, after apex lender RBI in its Monetary Policy Committee meet kept the policy stance accommodative and kept the key lending repo rate unchanged. India is the largest buyer of COVID-19 vaccines in the world with 1.6 billion doses. The doses could cover 800 million people, or 60% of its population, and will be enough to develop herd immunity. Foreign portfolio investors pumped in a net sum of 16,520 crore into equities, and 1,298 crore in the debt segment during December 1st to the 4th. Copper, age-old remedy for good health, has also remained a significantly important economic health indicator. Rising copper prices, helped by strong order flows, indicate that the global economy is recovering fast. Walmart Incorporated has hired Goldman Sachs to explore an initial share sale of its Flipkart unit in the US, to raise around $10 billion. The central government has sold nearly 1 crore shares of Axis Bank, worth around 600 crore in last 2 weeks, held through the specified undertaking of the Unit Trust of India. It plans to raise up to 2,000 crore. The base issue size is of 1,000 crore, with an option to upsize the deal by another 1,000 crore. Every 5paisa.com customer can link vested finance with their account in minutes. Investors can keep zero balance accounts and go for fractional share investment. The latest outflow has pulled down the assets under management of gold ETFs to 13,240 crore at the end of November. The NSE will offer futures and options in 7 serial weekly, excluding the monthly expiry, and 3 serial monthly contracts. DBS Group Holdings is to set up an exchange for digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, that will provide tokenization, trading and custody services to institutional and accredited investors. MSCI World Index of Global Shares rose 0.5% to 608.79 points, just shy of the record high hit briefly earlier in the month, helped by strong gains in Asia's leading markets. Australia's stock exchange opened for less than half an hour before a software issue forced it to close for the session, marring the debut day for an updated trading system. After a long spell of lackluster performance, L&T stock is back. The stock has reached to 1,106 rupees from 661 rupees since March 2020, recovering more than half of its losses. The Apollo Tyres Limited stock is rallying more than 5%. The stock hit a fresh 52-week high of 184 rupees and 10 paise on the NSE. Management's renewed focus on improving capital efficiency. Vodafone Idea's lead with tariff hikes risks, making it the operator with the highest tariffs. Despite a weak network, the move can also pave way for Jio to expand market share gains. The spread between 1-year and 10-year bonds has widened by 20 basis points. Gap between 5-year bond and the 10-year benchmark paper has grown to 80 bits per second from 70 bits per second a month ago. Gains in mid-cap IT shares have been greater than those of large caps in 2020. Returns of the top 5 IT stocks ranged between 24% and 57% year-to-date. The stock, which was hovering around Rs 300 to 320 levels for 6 months till early November, shot up about 60% in the past month, touching a 52-week high. Volume growth is showing signs of shifting down a gear, as buyers move towards passenger vehicles. Two-wheeler stocks could decelerate, having run up 4 to 10%.
Let's begin with economy news.
The deal was signed on the sidelines of an online ASEAN summit held as Asian leaders address tensions in the South China Sea and tackle plans for a post-pandemic economic recovery. Gross new enrollments with the ESEC were 8.27 lakh in June, 4.87 lakh in May and 2.62 lakh in April, showing an increase in enrollments after easing of the lockdown. Income Tax Department has issued refunds worth over Rs 1.40 lakh crore to more than 59.68 lakh taxpayers this fiscal till December 1st. This includes personal income tax and corporate tax refunds. Bigger gains in business investment, housing and exports were offset by downward revisions to state and local government spending, business inventories and consumer spending. India continues to be in a technical recession. A drop in the rate of GDP contraction signals a revival for the economy after a major plunge in the wake of pandemic. The e-invoicing system is now mandatory for entities having turnover of Rs 500 crore and more. About 56 million e-invoices were generated in November against 48 million in October. After a COVID-19 pandemic-led contraction in consumer spending in 2020, household spending will return to growth in 2021, expanding by as much as 6.6%. Fiscal deficit by September 2020 was 114.8% of annual budget estimate. Fiscal deficit stood at 9,53,154 crore at October end, which is 119.7% of annual budget estimates. The crisis triggered by coronavirus was likely to scar future economic activity as companies, governments, students and the worst-hit sections the workforce would have to cope up. She said 65,000 crore is being provided to ensure adequate availability of fertilizers to farmers and to enable timely accessibility of fertilizers in the upcoming crop season. Rice bran, once considered not of much use beyond cattle feed and fuel in Orissa, has come as a boon for farmers because of agri-technology popularization initiatives taken up by the state government. The union government may look towards its cash-rich public sector undertakings and those falling behind on their capex plans for current fiscal to declare higher dividends this year to reward their shareholders in this difficult period of COVID-19 pandemic. Rating agency ICRA has indicated that the healthy rebound since Q2 of 2021 will enable the country's poultry industry to post healthy profits during 2021, after near washout in profits in 2020. China's exports to India declined by 13% in the first 11 months of the year, while Indian exports to China rose 16% in the same period, according to Chinese customs data released on Monday. China is buying huge quantities of palm oil, pushing up prices of the hard oil that India imports from Indonesia and Malaysia. to meet its domestic demand. While a shortage in global oilseed production has been a major reason for prices of edible oil to shoot up, wholesale onion prices declined by 65% in last 5 weeks at the benchmark Lasalgaon wholesale market in Maharashtra, prompting farmers and traders' demand that export ban be lifted immediately to avoid glut when Kharif harvest arrival increases. Who benefits from the 3 new farm bills? In the 1976 film, All the President's Men, about the Watergate scandal, screenwriter William Goldman attributes the phrase, "Follow the money," to the secret informant Deep Throat. Mumbai, uncertainties over the spread of coronavirus, as well as its immediate and longer-term economic implications, will continue to exert pressure on global public finances in 2021, according to Fitch Ratings. India Incorporation seeks auto trigger for safeguard duty on import of capital goods. India imported $30 billion of capital goods from China, US, Germany, Japan and South Korea in financial year 2020. Indian containerized trade has been severely impacted this year, owing to the staggered supply and demand shocks across geographies, along with challenging economic indicators. CPSEs and the central government agencies have paid over 21,670 crore to micro, small and medium enterprises, while procurement from the companies has increased by more than 2.5 times. The center has released 42,000 crore to different states to meet the shortfall of GST compensation, and the latest installment of 6,000 crore was released, setting a range for fiscal deficit target based on expenditure outcomes, rather than a particular number may be the need of hour for India. The government sets a fiscal deficit target under the FRBM Act. In a major crackdown against fake firms, GST field formations have cancelled 1,63,042 registrations. Due to non-filing of GST-R3B returns for more than 6 months, the government may consider tweaking the definition of basic pay and allowances in the draft rules for Code on Wages, taking into account the concerns raised by the industry. The centre, states and CPSEs among them, will likely spend 7.5 lakh crore rupees on capital investments, up 80% over such expenditure in the first half. Capex by the railways, which was languishing at very low levels, has picked up fast. The projects which are impacted cut across states, and comprise 8,500 crore worth new projects approved. EPFO is likely to credit 8.5% rate of interest for 2019-20, in the Employees Provident Fund accounts, over around 6 crore subscribers in one go. Retail inflation slowed to a 3-month low at 6.93%, but stayed above the central's bank upper margin of 6%, ruling out any immediate easing in interest rates. The Finance Minister has convened a meeting of the FSDC to discuss about the state of the financial sector and revival strategy for the economy that has been hit hard by the coronavirus pandemic.